The Secretary General of the ANC, Fikile Mbalula, has went out in a rally where he was addressing a number of members of the ANC and also members of the media, saying that Patrice Motsepe will not be the ANC president. And Patrice Motsepe must not confuse Orlando Pirates, Sundowns, and the ANC, and that there is no way positions in the ANC, especially the presidential position in the ANC, can be bought with money. But guess what? A whole lot of people went mad after that statement, because how can you actually go toe-to-toe with Patrice Motsepe, the first black billionaire in South Africa, and I believe in the African continent? If I'm not mistaken, maybe it's Aliko Dangote, but I think Patrice Motsepe is actually the first African black billionaire. Now, of course, there are speculations that Patrice Motsepe is not interested in being the president. He's just a businessman who's just interested in doing so well for himself and the rest of the people that he cares about. But what's actually happening in the ground and what other political analysts are saying is very much different from this whole narrative of saying that he's not really interested in politics. Because what we are looking at right now is a man who has been mobilizing himself for so many years. Look at what he's doing with the ZCC Church. His strong ties and his strong affiliation with the leader of one of the biggest churches in the world, not in South Africa, not in the African continent, in the world, ZCC, Zion Christian Church, Bishop Lekhanyane, and now they have this project that they are running that is happening each and every year, where they call even other members of different churches to come and attend the National Day of Prayer, where they fill up stadium. I think the last stadium that they went to was FNB Stadium, and you can tell that these are real numbers. Of course, many people are saying that he's using those numbers to, expand his business growth, like Time Bank. We know a whole lot of ZCC members now bank with Time Bank, and Time Bank is one of the most important stakeholders to the ZCC members. But if I were to actually analyze what is happening right here, it doesn't matter whether, that those numbers he's just using it for business. He can also use it for other things. But before we continue, let's play that clip from Fikile Mbalula so you can hear directly what he had to say.
From time to time. Usibiza ngokuthi member ye-ANC. Makube ne-discipline apha e-ANC. Umtsipe ifuna uphatha makazibonakalisa apha emasebeni kuba yimember ye-ANC. Sizokwazi udibana naye ngqo. Ene le nto yabo iyadika. Isihlela apha emqaleni. Ifana nenyama etyayo yenkomo etyebileyo. Ime apha. Every Sunday, Motsepe is touted by who? Gobani pressure. Sithe imani nimile nimende discipline. Baya sinyengezela. Baya konka kule game abasoze balunga. Never. Abasoze.
So, if, of course, you are struggling with the language, I will explain to you. So what he's basically saying is that there is no one who will become the ANC president by just buying his way up to that position, which is really much confusing, because we know that the sitting president of the ANC right now bought his way up in Nasrec. That's why, right now we cannot even find out about the CR17 statement. Busisiwe Mkhwebane and Advocate Dalimpofu has been fighting this in court for so many months. And, it's even tiring to actually go on and on trying to actually say that, guys, this is wrong. We need to correct the system. But no one is actually listening to you, not the justice system, not the media. Everyone is just vilifying you. I'm not saying Busisiwe Mkhwebane or Advocate Dalimpofu, they are perfect, but they were fighting something that is noble. So Fikile Mbalula saying that you cannot buy the presidential position within the ANC is really delusional. But I'm not surprised, because he is a delusional human being, a delusional politician, of course, since, he has been moved from Minister of Sports to Minister of Police. that for me was like a clear indication that the ANC is not really serious about our people, and leading this country. So what we are looking at right now is Fikile Mbalula being threatened by the presence and all the speculations about Patrice Motsepe becoming the next president or interested in politics, and of course we are not really sure whether, even if he is interested, he wants to go through the ANC vehicle or he wants to channel through another vehicle, because Prince Mashile, I think I'll play you a clip by Prince Mashile, who's a political analyst, and a whole lot of people I know, they say a lot of things, he's bought by Herman Mashaba, whatsoever, he's corrupt. It's fine, but this is the same man that actually predicted the fall of the ANC in 2024, and it happened exactly like that, and this is why I trust this analysis. So he speaks about Patrice Motsepe and says, Patrice Motsepe, it will be a very bad move if he goes to politics through the ANC vehicle. It will be a very bad move, and he must never, ever, ever even consider it. If he wants to go into politics, he must at least start a new political party, or if he's not starting a new political party, maybe try to associate himself with a different party, as long as it's not the ANC or the DA, and maybe even the EFF. But let's have a look at what Prince Mashile had to say before I continue.
And if you look at his conduct, he has been pumping a lot of money to churches. He has been pumping a lot of money and causing up with traditional leaders. He's been doing a lot of stuff in preparation of this presidential project. So it's real. But his mistake, and I whispered into the ear of someone close to him. I said he must forget about the ANC. The ANC is a carcass. His mistake is that he wants to enter politics through the ANC, and he believes that he can rescue the ANC. Terrible mistake. The ANC will drag him down. The ANC is not rescuable. It's a dead weight. If you think you can carry it, it's going to drag him down. So his impact will be to confuse the DA, but he's not going to rescue the ANC because the MK guys will not support him. And in fact, they will ratchet up their white monopoly capital sloganeering against him. So he's not going to shift anything politically very much. He thinks he can. Let him try, and you ask me when he's
all right.
failed.
So you can tell that right now what we are looking at really is somehow an unpredictable future of the ANC, unpredictable future of the SA politics. Because if this man decides today that he wants to be in politics, I'm telling you, even if he goes outside of the ANC vehicle to pursue this goal, he will still win. This guy is affiliated with the kings, the monarchs in South Africa, and people don't know about this. He's really, 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 affiliated strongly with the monarchs in South Africa. Through his Motsepe Foundation, he's affiliated with a whole lot of churches, Catholic churches, the Modise Church that has a whole lot of numbers. I think it's the second largest church in South Africa, or the third largest church in South Africa. I think the first one is ZCC, and then it's a Universal Church, and then it's Modise, the Modise IPCC church. So these are the people that are really affiliated with Patrice Motsepe, and he could just make a call in a day and be like, yo, guys, I'm interested now. I think I'm going to go for politics, and I need you guys to back me up. Help me campaign through the members of your own church. And I think this is what Floyd Shivambu was trying to do, going to Malawi, trying to speak to Bushiri. But that's really a bad move. That, for me, was really a bad move. So what we are looking at right now is someone who has so much power, and he ticks all the boxes basically to become, the next politician. Maybe not the next president, but all, the boxes to become to participate in South Africa's politics. Because what you need to actually participate, like Prince Mashile has actually said in his last interview there, he said that you need money, you need personality, and you also need, a very nice track record. And when you look at the track record of Patrice Motsepe, for me, is somebody who has spent so much time trying to prove himself, or at least building a resume that he knows that when it's time for him to refer back to it, it's going to be something that is really going to benefit him. Because you look at what he has done with CAF, A lot of people can argue that his first election was, it was not really a democratic, because the person who was supposed to actually contest him ended up withdrawing last minute. So a lot of speculations. People are saying there's corruption, da 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 da. But at the end of the day, however he got the position, he managed to maximize that opportunity. He managed to maximize that opportunity, just like the way he got his wealth. Because a whole lot of people think that he started from zeros, puzzle shop. That's the whole narrative that we hear in the media. But actually, what happened is he had strong affiliations. His father had strong affiliations with the Anglo-American, and that's how him and Ramaphosa ended up being these big BEE beneficiaries, right? The Black Economic Empowerment. That's why a whole lot of white people are saying that we should cancel this whole thing. But honestly speaking, it's a policy that actually benefits the few Black elites. You and I do not actually benefit from the BEE, because if we're benefiting from the BEE, you and I today will be millionaires, you and I today will be billionaires. If it was something that really was meant to actually benefit the rest of the country and the rest of the Black population. But Patrice Motsepe has been building his resume, has been building his CV for so many years. You look at in business, and he has played so many pivotal roles, so many important roles, and he has contributed so much behind the scenes. You can even speak about the Oval meeting with President Donald Trump. A whole lot of people don't even know that Patrice Motsepe was actually one of the most important people that made that meeting to actually happen in the United States. Because a week before that meeting, he was in the Middle East, and there was a seminar, a business seminar. If I'm not mistaken, it was the UAE or Saudi Arabia. I'm not really sure about that, about the country. But there are videos of him showing in the media where he's praising Donald Trump, and they're sitting in the same table. So that for me tells me that he was in the same space with Donald Trump and managed to convince him to actually say, a week later, let's set up a meeting, let's sort out this white genocide thing in South Africa, and this could be good for business, da 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 da. So you can tell that this is the person who is actually influential. We undermine him, and I think that's very dangerous to undermine someone like that, because he might wake up tomorrow and shock us. But guess what? Even if today he wakes up and say, I want to start a new political party, that party will make it to parliament, that party will make it to the polls, and that party has much potential to actually make it to the presidential office. Because you know why? Like I told you, to be a politician, you need a resume, a good track record, you need a personality. He is a personality person. He is a people's person. He speaks to people. When you speak to him, you can relate. That's what people really want. That's why they vote for people like Julius Malema. That's why they vote for people like, Cyril Ramaphosa. They vote for a whole lot of people, really, South African voters, because they want someone who can speak their language somehow. Even if you don't do as, you speak, as long as you speak that way. And Patrice Motsepe has that ability. For me, he's somebody that can be able to actually do that. Now, the third part, or the third box that you need to tick, you need to have money. You need to have serious money. You need to have money that can back you. And Patrice Motsepe has all the money. So all he needs to do is just to say, you know what? I've been donating to the ANC for so many years. I've been giving the ANC 10 million. At some point, he actually donated 10 million rands through one of his companies that he is a director of. And the ANC has been chowing money from Motsepe through African Rainbow Minerals, through other organizations, that he is actually using it to donate to the ANC. And so they're used to Patrice Motsepe money. But now he can say, I take all that money, I'm going to start a new political party. In a day, he could run a very robust campaign that can actually, even for the next year elections, 2026 elections, if, for instance, he wants to run, for instance, local office, he could easily do that. That's very simple. Like, it's not really rocket science. It's not difficult. He could easily do that by just redirecting his money to his new political party and be like, I'm doing this for my people now, or my party. And he will get all the votes. Remember, he's got people from ZCC. He's got people from all other churches, Modise, Catholic churches, all those people that he invites to National Day of Prayer. National Day of Prayer. It's not just for fun, man. It's not just to say, yeah, let's pray to God, let's come together and let's have fun. No, it's not that. He's a businessman. He's very strategic. He knows what he's doing. He's mobilizing. He's making sure that by the time he aims, he doesn't miss. He doesn't miss at all. And he has backings in terms of business. He does a lot of business with the Ruperts, does a lot of business with the Oppenheimers, he does a lot of business with a whole lot of corporates in South Africa. And you can even look at the way he is running his businesses, that he looks up to a whole lot of guys that are in one of the South Africa's top oligarchs, like the Ruperts family, for instance. African Rainbow Minerals, you can see it's a diversified kind of investment company that actually owns a whole lot of companies. And Motsepe himself sits at the board of directors for so many organizations and so many businesses where he has power to influence a whole lot of things. So unlike Cyril Ramaphosa, to be honest, he seems to have more power. He seems to have more power and he seems to have more influence, leverage, and understanding of politics, business, and social science. So that person is really, really dangerous. But don't forget, he's not actually the enemy of Cyril Ramaphosa. Him and Cyril Ramaphosa are actually like buddies. Cyril Ramaphosa married his sister, the first lady, that you don't normally see, that you don't normally see in the media space, that you don't normally see in the public face. But she is someone who is really prominent because she is this. She's the sister of Patrice Motsepe, and she is actually the first lady of this country right now. A whole lot of people are saying that she's not well, health-wise and all of that. That's why Cyril Ramaphosa shielded her from the media whatsoever. And I could agree, because when you look at some of her videos, she doesn't really look like a person who is really doing great health-wise. Maybe it's old age, maybe it's not even health, maybe it's just old age, because she's quite old. Cyril Ramaphosa and him, I think they are apart with a year or two, if I'm not mistaken. I stand for correction on that one. But anyway, what I was trying to say is that the two are family members. The two are brother-in-laws, and they do business together. And so if Cyril Ramaphosa becomes the president, Patrice Motsepe becomes the president of South Africa, it is still a win for Cyril Ramaphosa. It's just an extension of a leadership in that family to say, oh, you are out, now we put you. But it is the same protection of the same interest. They will still be serving the same masters. They will still be serving the same interest. So they are still safe. And I think it is within Ramaphosa's even interest to advance and promote and endorse Patrice Motsepe as the president of the country. Take a look at what not former president, Deputy President Paul Mashatile had to say about Fikile Mbalula going out in the public, speaking like that about Patrice Motsepe. Let's take a look at this video quickly.
There are other people every day who are pushing for Comrade Patrice's name.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they are faceless. That's problem number one. So I doubt if Comrade Patrice knows them. Because if he should, or if he does, he should be able to go to them and say, guys, it's not the time to do this. Because I think if that is not stopped, it means other candidates in the ANC who may want also to make themselves available don't enjoy the same privilege of campaigning. So I think it's something that I think the SG was trying to deal with recently. Other people say he was too harsh. But I think he was trying to caution that please, let's all follow the agreed upon protocols. I think once the process is open, let everybody campaign, including Comrade Patrice. Yeah, he's my friend, so he must just make sure his membership is in order.
Paul Mashatile is one of the people that has more chances of becoming the president of South Africa. We know that because he's a deputy of I mean, he's the deputy president, right? He's the deputy of Ramaphosa. So right now, he is the person who actually stand a chance. But guess what? Fikile Mbalula and him, for me, my prediction is that they are aiming for one to be president and the other to be deputy president. So that if Paul Mashatile becomes the president, at least Fikile Mbalula can aim to be the deputy president. That's why they support each other like that. The only person that people are not really paying attention to, and I think if the Motsepe thing can be taken out of this whole thing, he could actually be at a better position to become the next president of the ANC. Panyaza Lesufi, former MEC of Education, Gauteng, and now is the premier of Gauteng province. That man works. A lot of people that worked with him, they have already said that this is the man that works. This is the real politician. This is the guy that actually does the work. And this is the guy that we need. And so you're looking at someone who has been working and doing so much work on the ground. Panyaza Lesufi is one of the people that will or have the chances of becoming the ANC president if he's not sabotaged. But what I'm looking at right now is the faction of Paul Mashatile now, also, which is the same faction of Fikile Mbalula, which are now saying that, okay, you know what, this is our chance. And maybe, even though they have disagreed and had disagreements in the past, they have now come together and be like, you know what, this is our chance. This man is going out in 2027. Let's make sure that you and I get these positions. I become the deputy, you become the president, or you become I become the president, you become the deputy. But we make sure that we seal those two positions together as Fikile Mbalula and Paul Mashatile. So for me, we're looking at a very interesting road ahead when it comes to SA politics. We're going to have to really find ourselves in a position where we question a lot of things, we do more research, we ask a lot of questions, we make really conscious decisions about where we put our cross in the next elections. And by the way, we're voting next year, 2026, South African local government elections. That's where you're going to elect your councillors, I think also your regional leaders. So you can also enter there as an independent candidate. The Constitution allows you. And that's the other thing that I wanted to talk about, that if the Constitution allowed for independent candidates to run for presidency, I think Motsepe had more chance to actually do that than through a party. But anyway, we don't know. Legislations keep on changing. I remember last year towards the elections, the president, Cyril Ramaphosa, amended the electoral legislation or policy, law basically, about independent candidates. And for the first time, we saw that independent candidates are allowed to run for elections, for local elections. And maybe moving forward, we will even be allowed to vote for an independent candidate as the president, standing alone. And I think if that's the case, this is the chance Patrice Motsepe will actually have a chance to become the next South Africa's president. And maybe people like Vusi Tembekwayo, they can also make up their mind, because I think a whole lot of people have called him out, saying like, you need to really come into the space and really try to help us. But we'll see how that goes. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Elvis Mulifi Mov. If I didn't introduce myself in the beginning, apologies. If you're seeing this face for the very first time, like I said, this is Break It Down podcast. And what we do here, basically, we're pretty much in our beginner stage, man. We're trying out so many things. We're trying out everything, basically. On Monday, you can catch us, myself, Theo, Kat, MPH, and Skumbuzo, breaking it down for you, all of us here in studio. And then, of course, from time to time on Thursday, I'll be dropping another exclusive interview where I deal with the spirituality, self-mastery, and philosophy. Now, I'm sure you're asking yourself a question, and like, how do you actually combine the two? Politics, spirituality, self-mastery, like, what do you even what are you attempting to do? And all I can say is that, I'm trying everything that I think is actually relevant right now and speaks to me and speaks to everybody that I'm actually talking to through this content. And I'm hoping that, everybody finds it in their heart to actually resonate. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next one. My name is Elvis Mulifimov. This is Break It Down Podcast. Let me know, what do you think in the comment section. Cheers.
And this past week, Shame, I was on my worst behavior. I was behaving like my father. So if we backed ourselves the way China's trying to back us, the way Russia's trying to back us, then these wars would be futile.
Yeah.
Israel wouldn't be able to become the colonial power that they want to become. Donald Trump, he's not the person, guys, he's a wishy-washy person. He's all about his money, hey?
Yeah.
He even said he doesn't care about the war. He just wants his money. I think if the US decided that they're not going to back Israel anymore, a lot of secrets would be dropped.
Now, at least we've got something really positive that is happening in the African continent. I mean, we call it now the Ibrahim Traore effect, that we really pray for, I guess, that, certain leaders can really just adapt to that philosophy. And that's why the US government, wants to ban TikTok completely, because they understand this is a propaganda machine. When you are in China, the algorithm shows you, it doesn't show the girls that are dancing on TikTok. In China, the content that pops up on the timeline is very different. The content that pops up on the timeline is the content that is actually motivating. It shows kids that are building, real stuff, like a car or a house in the kindergarten.
You're saying that the focus is Mapiano right now because of prominence. It's what the people want, right? But there are other genres. It's so boring hearing piano from 6 p.m. at the club until 3 a.m. in the morning. Guys, can we focus on other genres?
So for me, it's not solemnly from listening to it from a groove perspective. It's more on being interested on the business side of things and where it's going and where it's headed. You get me? So just like recently, Wafla dropped
Who?
Uncle Waffles.
Oh, okay. You love Uncle Waffles, my guy. Do
she's
you have a
quite
crush
dope.
on her or what?
No. She's quite dope.
Okay.
Business-wise, music-wise,
Yeah.
she's top tier. You need to understand, she understands music and how the elements of business interlink. So you take a look at his song, Zenzele. It's quite making moves in Africa, the globe, Europe. You see kids at schools doing their challenge. It's quite incredible to watch, and it's quite terrific.
It's the current song now.
Yeah, it's quite booming. I think even when it comes to the challenges that have been done on TikTok, it's quite